Yeah, hi guys, this is Dinesh Kumar and you are watching about Oracle videos. So in current session, I am discussing about Oracle database. What is the use of database? Why we are using database? What is the advantage by using it as a database? Let us see what is Oracle. Oracle, anybody can say it's an RDBMS. Oracle is an RDBMS. RDBMS stands for Relational Database Management System. Relational Database Management System. So why we need this management system, or why we need this RDBMS? So RDBMS, any RDBMS, not only Oracle, any RDBMS, you can use RDBMS to store data. You can store data and also you are processing data. So first we need data. Where is data? If you have unmanageable data, manually you are unable to manage the data. In that case, we need one automated system that is called as RDBMS. And here we are talking about where is data, how data will be generated. See, before going to discuss about Oracle versions, here I am discussing about where is the data generated, from which place we will get the data. See, let us assume a business. For every business we need resources. For every business we need resources. See, to implement a business we need employees. So the employees organized into departments. And business was implemented either to produce or implement products, and these products will be sold to customers, or some businesses are there, they are providing services to the customers. So customers, these are basic resources of any business. Okay, from these resources the data will be generated. So see here, these are called as employees, departments, products and customers. These are called as business entities, or we can say business objects. So what is a business object? Any real-time entity is called as a business object. Any real-time entity is called as business object. Where is the data? See here. Business is a collection of entities and also its activities. We can say business is a collection of entities and its activities. Like let us consider a banking system. In the banking system, customers are there, account types are there. If a customer making a transaction, maybe it is a withdrawal transaction or transfer or any other transaction, that is called as business activity. From each and every entity and from each and every activity of the business, the data will be generated. Let us see. Let us consider one employee, any one employee. Let us consider any one employee. What is the data of this employee? Employee is having employee ID and employee name, suppose Ajay, and employee salary 5,000, employee join date 13th of May 13, and employee designation developer. If you consider any one employee, that employee is having some information. That information is called as data. This information is known as data. Remember, the information of one employee, this is called as one entity. You are considering only one entity. So each entity like this, each entity in your business is having some data. So collection of information of any one entity is called as data. Okay, so employees, let us assume in the early days of the business, you have limited objects in your business. Let us assume only 20 employees are there. I have 2 departments and in my business I am maintaining only 100 products. On the very beginning moment I have no customers. In such a case, how many number of lines of data you are having? Only limited lines of data. It is less than 150 lines of data. See, if you are having less lines of data, it's very easy to manage it. So we don't need any automated system to manage the business activities. So here, day by day, the business will grow up. In such a case, let us see, employees may be incremented, employees are increased, departments are increased. We have to set up more number of departments. Maybe we will maintain more number of products, and every day we are getting some customers. In such a case, see here, after some time, let us assume you have 2000 employees in your company, 2000 employees, and you are having, let us say, 10 branches. Under each branch you are having some departments, department 1, department 2, department 3, like this, and each department is having some kind of information. and you are maintaining 1 lakh products in your business, and right now you are having 10 lakhs customers. So this is the current situation of your business. So in your business right now, 2000 employees means 2000 lines of information with you, and suppose 10 branches, each branch having 5 departments. In such a case, 50 lines of data with you, and here 1 lakh products information, 1 lakh lines of data, and here 10 lakhs lines of customers information. So it is very difficult to manage it manually. It is very difficult to manage it manually. In such a case, we need one automated system. That automated system has to store this data. In future, if you are retrieving the data, it has to display your required data. If you need any change in the database, it has to make the changes. All these activities are done by one automated system called as RDBMS. Now see, we have discussed what is data. Collection of information of any one entity is called as data. Then now, what is database? The next term I am talking about, database. What is a database? See, business is not a single entity. It is a group of entities, collection of entities. So you are taking the information of all entities and save it under one place. Again I am repeating. So all the information related to all entities within the business, I am saving that under one place. That is called as database. Database is a collection of information of all entities within your business. Now, let me discuss about DBMS. What is database management system? DBMS, database management system, means, see, we know what is database. Okay, all business information I am saving under one place, that is called as database, business information. Then what is meant by DBMS? Database management system. Management system will provide some services. These services used to manage your business data. These services used to manage your business data. How should I manage? What are the services? See, if you have new data, that new data should be inserted into your business data. And if you have old data, you need to change it, then update your business data. And here, if you have any unnecessary information, then delete it. And before using the database, we should be authenticated. We should be authenticated by database administrator. And parallelly, we have to provide security to our database. Parallelly, we need to provide security to our database. These are called as management services. These are called as management services. So if any database which is providing management system services, that is called as DBMS. It's a database management system. So this is the introduction about what is DBMS, database management system. Now I am introducing about RDBMS. What is RDBMS? See, relational database management system. So here we are in RDBMS, a new term is there, relational. What is relation? Let us consider employees here. Each employee should works in a department. Each employee should works in a department. It's must and should. Let us consider any department. Suppose accounting department is there. Accounting department should contain set of employees. Each department must contain employees. Means employee object is interrelated with department object. Employee object is interrelated with department object. And next, okay, in my business I am producing some products. I am producing some products. Okay, I have a product. On any one day, definitely the product should be sold to a customer. The product should be sold to a customer. So in that case, product means it should be related with a customer. Customer means he must buy at least one product. Again I am repeating, product means on any day the product should be sold to some customers, and a customer means definitely the customer has to purchase at least one product, then only we can say the person is called as a customer. Otherwise we cannot say the person is known as a customer, right? So this is about interrelation between the objects. Interrelation between objects, that is called as a relational database management system. Again I am repeating. See, let me introduce two sample tables. Two sample tables. See here, let us consider company details. This is a company details table. Company code and company name and country. This is one table. Okay. So here company code CMP1, CMP2. Here Sony and here Philips. Two companies. And see, country is Japan, and here Philips, India. Okay, two companies are there. Okay, let us assume I am the dealer for these two companies. Product details. So product details, PID, product ID, product name, cost of the product, manufacturing date, and you can also say warranty. Sample. For sample I am considering only some of the columns: product ID, product name, cost of the product, and warranty. Let us assume what are the products you are having. Let us assume 5 or 10 products you are having. Product 1, product 2, product 3, product 4, 5. Okay, 5 products are there. Product 1, it is a mobile. Cost of the product 5,000. Manufacturing date 21st May 16, and warranty 1 year warranty. This is the values. Product 2, so here it is a television, and its cost is 30,000 and manufactured on 14th of June 16, and here 5 years warranty. And product 3, let us say smartphone, its cost is 45,000, manufactured on 20 June 16, and here warranty 1 year. And P4, it's a tablet, and P5 it's a laptop, and tablet its cost is 12,000, and here manufactured on 11th of June 15, 1 year warranty, and here laptop 35,000 cost, and here manufactured in 10th of May 16, 1 year warranty. Let us assume this is the data. Okay, fine. To maintain company's information, you are maintaining a company details table. In this table, you are maintaining company details. Company details means company code, company name, and company country. And here you are maintaining product information, product ID, product name, cost, manufacturing date, warranty. Okay, fine. Now I have some questions here. See, tell me, you are the distributor, means you are the dealer for these two companies. Tell me how many number of products you are maintaining from Sony. How many number of products you are maintaining from Sony? So, okay, Sony value is here. So, do you have how many number of products you are maintaining? No. Next, tell me how much amount invested for maintaining Philips products. How much invested for maintaining Philips products? Then, so are you able to calculate by using this table data? We cannot. Then, in that case, come to here. So, tell me, each product should be from any one company. Each product should be from any one company. Then, tell me, what is the company name of television? What is the company name of television? No, you have no information here. And tell me, what is the company country of mobile? No, you are unable to answer. Tell me company information of laptop. No, in this table we are unable to answer. Means you are maintaining data according to database rules like table data. But what is the problem here is you are missing some information while retrieving data from the tables. You are missing some information while retrieving data from the tables. So how should I get full-fledged data? How should I get consistent data, complete data, accurate data from the tables? These tables, right now these two tables are not having any relation. So if you are able to provide relation, then you are able to answer your questions. How it is? Listen carefully. See, I am defining a primary key. Here I am defining a primary key. So what is primary key? In our coming sessions we will discuss about constraints. There I will explain complete information about constraints. For the time being, just listen. What is primary key? It is one kind of business rule. It is a business rule. What is the use of this rule? See, if you apply primary key on a column, the column should not maintain duplicates. The column will not allow any blank values. The blank values in Oracle is called as null value. Blank values in the Oracle is known as null values. Again I am repeating, primary key should not allow duplicates and primary key should not allow null values. Okay, here we have no duplicates, no null values. Then okay, fine. From this primary key I can implement a foreign key in this table. In the product details table I will implement a foreign key. Okay. From the primary key, let me introduce a foreign key here. So foreign key. So here you are maintaining company code. Okay. This column is called as a foreign key column. What is foreign key column? Foreign key column only refers the values from primary key. Foreign key column only refers the values from primary key. It will take the values from only primary key and also it maintains null values. So the remaining values it will not accept. So what are the values in primary key? CMP1, CMP2. These values any number of times will be reflected into foreign key. These values will be reflected into foreign key column any number of times. Remember this. So, and also foreign key maintains null values also. Foreign key having duplicates, null values, but they will accept only primary key values. Remember that. And here, according to this, let us assume it's a CMP 1, okay, and here CMP 2, and here CMP 1, and let us say here CMP tablet is from 2 and CMP 1. So here 3 products are from company 1 and 2 products are from company 2. What is happening? If I maintain the relation like this, what will happen? Listen carefully. See, now again I am raising same questions. Now these 2 tables are interrelated tables. These 2 tables are called as interrelated tables. In which case they are interrelated? You are taking a primary key that is reflected as a foreign key in the next table. Here primary key is reflecting as a foreign key in the next table. Primary key from this table, foreign key into this table. Remember. Okay, fine. Now you can say these 2 tables are interrelated tables. Now, how many number of products you are maintaining from Sony? See, Sony, what is the company code? CMP1. Go to product details table. Here, how many number of records having the value CMP1? How many number of records having the value CMP1? 1, 2, 3. So means 3 products you are maintaining from Sony. Now see, what is the company name of this tablet? What is the company name of tablet? See, tablet company code. Verify the code CMP2. Take this company code and come back to company details. In the company details, verify company code CMP2 is there or not. Yes. Then what is the name of the company? Philips. Finally, tablet is from the company Philips. So, if the tables are having interrelation or relation, simply we can say it is physical relation. Physically related tables or physical relation between the tables. And remember, this is the permanent relation. This is permanent relation. Until you break the relation, it is permanent. If you want to break the relation, you have to remove foreign key column. You need to remove foreign key column. Then automatically relation will be breaked. So, until you break it, this is permanent. So, these 2 tables are physically related with each other by using primary key and foreign key. So, if you have the relation, you can fetch any kind of data from any table. Again I am repeating, you can fetch any kind of data from any table. That is the advantage of relation. This is what about RDBMS. In the business, you can take any 2 tables. Every table should be related with other table. Let us see, already we have discussed it. Employee related with department, and customer related with product, and suppose sales related with product, and sales is also related with customer. That product was sold to whom? Some customers. Okay, in this way each and every object in your business should be related with at least one other object. That's a very important to remember. Yeah, this is what about introduction about RDBMS. So what are the topics we have covered here? What is data? Collection of information of any one business entity is called as data. Next, what is database? See, business is a collection of group of entities and business is a collection of group of activities. So if you maintain all objects information and all activities information under one place, that is called as database. Next, what is database management system? What is database management system? Database management system means the database which is providing a set of management system services. Set of management system services is called as database management system. What are the services it is providing? Inserting new data. Let me consider one sample example. Yes, right now in my business 100 employees are there. After some time I want to recruit 50 employees. So whenever you are getting new employees, I have to maintain new employees information into my database. I need to maintain new employees information into my database. So that is inserting new data into the database. First point. Second, okay, already 100 employees are there, old employees. So for those old employees, we are increasing the salaries. Means old salaries of old employees should be increased with some percentage. Means changing old salaries with new salaries. Updations. Okay, 5 employees gone away from my company. So I don't want to maintain the gone away employees information in my company. So delete operation, deleting unwanted data. And parallelly, see in which case you are able to interact with the business if you are authenticated user. Okay, so authenticating the users and parallelly providing security. So if any database providing these services, it is becoming as database management system. And just now we have finished what is RDBMS. It's a collection of interrelated data like this. Collection of interrelated data of all interrelated tables is called as RDBMS. Collection of interrelated data of all interrelated tables within the business is known as RDBMS. This is about RDBMS. Now, let me come back to what are the examples of RDBMS? What are the examples of RDBMS? See, examples of RDBMS. So before going to discuss about examples, let me discuss about types of RDBMS. What are the types of RDBMS? See, there are 2 types. Here we are having 2 types of RDBMS. They are OLTP and OLAP. What is OLTP? Online transaction processing. Online transaction processing. Transaction processing. This is called as OLTP RDBMS. And OLAP, online analytical processing. Online analytical processing. This is called as OLAP database. What is OLTP? What is OLAP? Within a short time we will discuss about it. Don't worry. Now let me discuss about examples of RDBMS. Oracle, SQL Server or MySQL, Ingress, Sybase. Each and every one is called as examples of RDBMS. And here I am talking about OLTP RDBMS. And now in these things we are discussing about Oracle. Here we are discussing about Oracle. Now let me discuss about what is here. You can also use DB2. Another example of OLTP RDBMS is DB2. See, Oracle is from Oracle Corporation. SQL Server is from Microsoft. MySQL is also from Oracle. Ingress Corporation. From Sybase, we have Sybase. And from IBM people, we have DB2. These are the some of the examples of RDBMS. Now, let me discuss about what is OLTP. So, if you want to understand OLTP and OLAP, I have to introduce one project development process diagram. Project development process diagram. Listen carefully. Here I am introducing. Consider any business. Okay. I am considering a business. The business is having branches. Okay. Here I have some branches. 3 branches. This is branch 1, branch 2, branch 3. And each and every branch is having users. Under this also users. Under branch 3 you are having users. So let us assume branch 1 located in India, branch 2 located in USA, branch 3 located in UK. So there is a business, the business is having 3 branches. One branch located in India, one is in USA and one is in UK. Every branch is having users. Who are the users? Here, who are the users? Users means end user. He is not a part of business, but he is able to know what is the information about business. Next, employees. Again, employees 2 types. Technical employees, non-technical employees. Technical employees, non-technical employees. Non-technical employees working under outlets, business outlets. Non-technical employees working under business outlets. And technical employees working under business implementation, or we have to say developers or DBA. These are called as technical employees. Okay. And along with this, another employee is there. Not an employee, we have to say higher level management people. Higher level management people. These are users for any business. You can consider any business. Bank. Who are the users for the bank? Yes, as a general person, I want to know, I want to open one account. Can I know the information about the account? Yes, we know. So, I am not part of the banking business, but I will get the information about business. Means I am an end user, first one. Okay, if I am working in the banking, then I am becoming as a employee. Suppose if I am working as administrator, system admin, database admin, database developer, then I am becoming as a technical user. No, directly I am working in the branch. I am one of the part of the branch. Then I am becoming as a non-technical user. Next, there is a manager and there is a business analyst and there is a founder of the bank. These people are called as higher level management. These people are becoming as users for any business. Remember this. These are called as users for any business. Okay. Users interacting with the business, through which they are interacting with the business. Yes, they are interacting with the business through web pages, or simply we can say front-end applications. Users interacting with the business through front-end applications. Remember this. This is called as a web page. Somebody can say web application. Here also we can say web page or web application. So these applications like Google, it's a web page. Suppose ICICI Bank is there. ICICI banking portal is there. If you open the URL of ICICI, automatically you can see the web page of ICICI Bank. That is called as web page. Web pages generally developed by using front-end application technologies, PHP, HTML, DHTML, Java, ASP. Yeah. So by using those things, they will develop front-end applications. So users communicating through front-end applications. Remember. Okay. Here, from the front-end application, if you generate any data, so suppose the data generated in the front-end application should be saved under back-end database. The data generated in the front-end application should be saved under back-end database. This is called as a back-end databases. See, in India, I am using Oracle. According to Indian circumstances and Indian policies, Oracle is the cheap product in India. So that's why I am using Oracle here. And here, in USA, I am using SQL Server. Yes, you can use, no problem. Any database. Here, I am using DB2. Here, different branches are having different backend databases. Remember it. Now, after some business period, the data from the backend databases will be loaded into data warehouse. Here it is called as data warehouse. Okay, the data from different operational databases. These are called as branch level database, operational database, or OLTP database. This is called as OLTP RDBMS. RDBMS, remember that. Online transaction processing relational database management system. What is the responsibility of OLTP? What is the responsibility of OLTP? Every day the people are making transactions with the business. Every day the people are making transaction with the business. Then that transactional information, the data related to each transaction business activity should be saved under backend database. One sample example. Let us say I made one withdrawal operation. Today I made one withdrawal operation. Okay, that withdrawal operation I will get in the pay slip. Fine. Okay, I got the pay slip and I have checked my old balance and I have checked my new balance. Everything is fine. Okay. That transaction information not only providing to the end user at the time of transaction, that information should be saved under backend database. I am making the transaction through ATM machine. So ATM machine, it's a GUI, right? We have to say it's a user interface. It is one kind of UI, user interface application. Through ATM, I am making some transaction. So you are making some transaction in UI, that related information should be saved under backend database. So if you want to take a printout of your last transactions, yes, you will get from the bank. How they are providing? Already they are maintaining whatever the transactions made by you, that transactions are saved under backend database. So everyday activities, everyday transactions are saved under OLTP RDBMS. OLTP RDBMS contains day-to-day data, or we have to say daily data, or we can say dynamic data. Dynamic data, transactional data, day-to-day data, all are same. Again I am repeating, OLTP RDBMS is used to store transactional data, everyday data, day-to-day data, or we can say it's a dynamic data. That is called as RDBMS. So any OLTP used to store your transactional data, and in future if you want to access that transactional data, it has to provide to you. Remember, and after some business periods, from OLTP databases, the data will be loaded into data warehouse. What is data warehouse? It is called as OLAP RDBMS. OLAP RDBMS. Let me introduce Why we need OLAP? Then you can understand clearly what is OLTP and OLAP. See here. Let us consider Indian branch. Your business was started in February 3rd, 2015. Your business was started in February 3rd, 2015. Okay, fine. On very first day, February 3rd, you have 10 transactions, means 10 lines of data saved under database. Next, on February 4th, you have 50 transaction data, 50 lines. On February 5th, you are having 5 transactions to your business. Up to 3 days, total number of lines is 65. Means at the end of the February, do you have many number of lines or not? Let us assume 2000 lines of data in February. Okay, see, after 5 days, I want to get first day data. After 5 days, starting from the business, I want to get first day data. It will take some time to access the data. Very less time it will take. Suppose in 2000 lines, I am searching for one line of information. In 2000 lines, I am searching for one line of information. It will take lot of time to retrieve the data. It will take lot of time to retrieve the data. So, see, February finished. Next, March. So, March 2015, some data is generated, okay, and some data. At the end of the March 2015, let us assume you are having 1 lakh lines of data. In 1 lakh lines of data, if you are looking for one line of transaction or if you are looking for one line of information, it will take lot of time. So according to our example, it is taking so much time to retrieve, or it is taking so much time to access your data. Means in the real time, every day we are having millions of transactions with the businesses. In the real time, every day we are having millions of transactions with the businesses. In such a transactions, in that many number of transactions, if you are looking for one transaction, it will take lot of time. So if it is taking lot of time, then you can say database performance will be degraded. It's very simple. Suppose you are posting something in a website and you are expecting some results. If it is taking 1 minute, definitely we can say we are having very less speed, or it is not responding to our request. It's a wrong. That's why always I want to keep my database engine with good performance. Always I want to keep my database engine with good performance. In such a case, the business people can introduce, the business people will follow or can implement business periods. Business periods. What are the business periods? See, some people can consider daily business. Daily, what was happened at the end of the business working day, daily what was happened in my business. Somebody can consider weekly, somebody can consider monthly, somebody can consider quarterly, half yearly and yearly. Okay, see, let us assume most of the businesses will follow quarterly. Remember, most of the businesses will follow the business period quarterly. So what is the first quarter? From January 1st to March 31st. This is the first quarter. And April 1st to June 30. This is the second quarter. Similarly, from July 1st to September 30, and from October 1st to December 31st. These are the 4 quarters. See, after first quarter means at March 31st midnight 12 o'clock, they will take the data from branches. They will take the data from all branches. So that data will be loaded into data warehouse. So the data from this stage, OLTP stage to OLAP stage, if you want to take the data from here and load it into data warehouse, that operations are called as ETL operations. This is called as ETL operations. Extraction, E for extraction, T for transformations, L for loading. E for extraction, T for transformation, L for loading. So extracting branch level data, these are the branch level databases. Somebody can say this is also called as operational databases. Operational databases. So take the data from branches and see here different databases, different syntactical rules are there, but all of them are consolidated together and you are loading it into data warehouse. Let us assume here the syntactical rules are different. In such a case, all these database syntaxes will be converted into target database. This is called as target database. These are called as source databases. Okay, so converted into target database syntax. How can I convert? By applying transformations. E for extraction, taking data from operational databases or OLTP databases. Apply respective transformations to convert the source database syntax into target database syntax, and finally load, after conversion, load the data into data warehouse. Okay, so first up to March 31st all the data loaded to here. So April 1st onwards you have the fresh data at branch level databases. You have fresh data at branch level databases. See what is happening. If anybody, suppose you are in second business period. Let us assume right now you are in second business period. Okay, right now we are in third business period. Okay, so if I am requesting any information from the first business period, then data will be pulled from here. Okay, whereas again I am repeating, in the working business period, if you are requesting any information, then you will get the data from OLTP. If you are requesting about some information that is in already completed business period, then you will get the data from data warehouse. So what is happening is always it will keep the OLTP databases at higher level performance. And if you maintain old database here, that is very much helpful for analysis of your business. To make analysis of your business, data warehouse is helpful. It's very simple. See, data warehouse contains aggregated data. Aggregated means calculated. Consolidated means combined data. And it contains non-volatile data. It should not be changed. Once it was loaded into data warehouse, suppose in last 1 month you have withdrawn 5,000. Already completed transaction. Are you able to change the transaction? Never. Completed transaction will not be changed at all. Means non-volatile. Once data entered into data warehouse or OLAP, you cannot change it. Okay, see, by using aggregations or calculations, see, what is Q1 sales? Let us assume 5 lakhs. In my business, Q1 sales is 5 lakhs. What is Q2 sales? Let us say 50 lakhs. What is Q3 sales? Q3 is not finished till now, right? So can I compare Q1 and Q2 results? Yes. So why? Because Q1 data is available from data warehouse. Q2 data is also available from data warehouse. So from the business, completed business periods, take the and compare the results. Then you can understand the business is running successfully or not. This is the advantage of maintaining data warehouse. From data warehouse, still you have some other tools are there. From data warehouse, we are having data marts. From each data marts, we are having reports. Report developers are there. So this is known as business scenario. In this business scenario, why we are using Oracle? Oracle is useful as an OLTP database. What is the responsibility of Oracle? It has to access the data generated from the UI. It has to take the data generated from UI. Okay, so who will interact with Oracle? Anybody can interact with database. See, anybody in the sense technical people can interact with Oracle, but non-technical people only interacting with web page. They don't know what is happening beyond the web page. But beyond the web page, what is there? OLTP is there, and parallelly OLAP is also there. Yeah, this is what about introduction about project development process, right? And we are discussing about OLTP database Oracle. Now let me explain about, see, Oracle is the database. Oracle is an RDBMS from which corporation? Oracle Corporation. The company name is Oracle Corporation. It is named like this in 1979. Before 1979, in 1977 the company was started actually. At that time the name of the company is Relational Software Incorporation. Relational Software Incorporation. So later it was named as Oracle Corporation in 1979. In the same year they have released Oracle 1.0. They have released the first version of Oracle database into the market, into the public. But up to 1983, Oracle is not affecting the businesses. Nobody is interested to accept Oracle as a database management system. So in 1983, the Oracle Corporation released Oracle 7. Oracle Corporation released Oracle 7. From this is called as Standard Edition. This is called as Standard DBMS or RDBMS Edition or Business Edition. Yeah. After some time, they have released Oracle 8. And after that, we have 8i, next 9i, next 10G, and next 11G, and nowadays we have 12C. So in India, 12C is not as much as popular right now. So 11G, most of the company people are using it as using the backend database is 11G. Why? Because you can use 11G as OLTP and also OLAP. Why? Because both features are provided under 11G. See, Oracle has the biggest market in the society from 8i. Why? Because from 8i onwards, it is supporting internet applications. Means from UIs, from Java web pages, Oracle is able to access the data. It is ready to accept the data from any UI, and you can process your business data through online. Why? Because Oracle is supporting internet applications. And after that, 9i, it is also similar to internet applications, but it is having additionally ERP development tools. ERP development tools. So still most of the companies, suppose if a company is there, let us assume a company, a software company, the company is working on Oracle e-business suite, like Oracle apps, we can say Oracle applications. Still this company people, your apps in the sense it's a GUI, or simply we can say UI. Okay, so still these people are using backend database is Oracle 9i. Why? Because 9i is having special tools which are supporting Oracle apps modules very much closely. And next, Oracle 10G. 10G stands for grid technology. In the grid technology, whatever the branches you are having in your business, every branch is having a server, database server. All database servers are interconnected with each other. Thereby, from one server to other server, we can easily share our business data. We can easily distribute our business data. So there is no communication gap between server to server, that is Oracle 10G. And 11G, so it is also supporting grid technology. Along with that, it is supporting OLAP features also. It is supporting OLAP features. Yeah. And the latest one is Oracle 12c. What is Oracle 12c? C stands for cloud technology. See, what is a cloud technology? Without installing the resource, suppose if you want to work with Java, you have a basic system. Let us assume the system is not having more space or not supporting Java. Let us assume. Then no need to worry. In the old days, if you want to work with a technology, you have to install that application in your system and work with that. Nowadays, don't worry about it. Just through your system, connect to internet. From the internet, you can connect to any cloud which is providing your required technology. Connect to any cloud in the internet and work with your technology. Suppose if a business is providing free Java platform, I can simply connect to Java platform and I will practice my programs in that cloud. No need to install it into your system. Yeah. So this is the advantage of Oracle 12c. And means here sharing is easy. Next, cost of implementing business is reduced. Cost of implementing is less. Okay, and so this is what about versions of Oracle and what is Oracle, why is Oracle. Okay, so that's all for today. The rest of the part we can see in the next session. In the next session we will discuss about what are the parts of Oracle. So somebody is saying SQL and PLSQL. Why is SQL? Why is PLSQL? What is exactly happening if I use SQL query? So what is the meaning of SQL? Everything we will see in the next video session. Thank you very much.